Howdy, hey, hello, it's McKenna, and this is Munch and Mingle. I'm having a full-on fangirl moment as I sit across the table from one Julianne Donaldson.
Hi.
This is incredible. My mind is blown that this is happening, and I have to thank you for coming on here for what we're going to talk about. It's going to be incredible. This episode is marking our 1 year as Munch and Mingle podcast, so I'm just so grateful that I get to share that with you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're going to go over our munchie. You brought a drink.
I did.
Why don't you tell us about it?
I brought I brought the Molokai coconut flavor. If I need just a little pick-me-up, it has a little bit of caffeine in it, but it's not soda, and it's just got that refreshing coconut flavor.
That is like a beach in a drink.
It is.
Wow, that really is. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Love that. For any of you out there who don't know, Julianne Donaldson is an author, particularly of the two most amazing books on this world. 3, excuse me. We're going to get that third one. Edenbrooke and Blackmoore. If you've heard of them, they are proper romance books. I think I've heard about this book from so many other people, as well as me sharing it with so many other people. The top one that a lot of people talk about is Edenbrooke. So we're going to kind of dive in. I'm not saying that there is going to be spoilers, but I'm not saying there's not going to be. So if you haven't read them, we'll timestamp it down in the bio when we're talking specifically about the books. So maybe if you need to go read them, which you definitely should. If you haven't, then you can jump back to it. Let's get to know you. What was life growing up for you? Has writing always played a part in your life, or where did that come about?
Books have definitely always been an important part of my life. So I grew up as an Air Force brat. We moved around a lot, and I was probably the only introvert in my family. And I discovered at an early age that there were like 2 things that I could do as an introvert and not get pulled away to do other things. One was reading, and the other was playing the piano.
Perfect.
If I was doing those 2 things, I was left alone, and I could get my alone time that I needed as an introvert.
If any introverts out there need some help,
yes.
There's your 2 go-tos.
Yeah. My mom loved to read. She was always taking us to the library, and I just grew up loving books. That was just kind of my identity, was that I was a reader. I had a really great 8th grade English teacher. Her name was Mrs. Regan. This was when I was living in Germany. She had us write a poem, and when I gave her my poem, she said, "I think this is good, and I think you can improve it too." So I worked to improve it, and then she's like, "I think this is good enough to submit." There was like this kind of European-wide collection of student artwork and poetry, and it was called Sketches. For anyone who doesn't know, in the military, when you're stationed abroad, you get to go to American school through the Department of Defense. It's called DODEA. So all the American schools in Europe all kind of contributed to this publication. And so I submitted this poem, and it was like my first time to see something I wrote in print, and distributed. And it just sparked this sense of accomplishment, like, oh, I created something that now other people can read. And it was really fulfilling. I would say that was like my first step into really writing, but I never really anticipated I would be an author. I always just thought that authors were people who lived somewhere else, like New York or something, I think it's so cool now that authors are so accessible. The fact that there's so many opportunities for self-publishing means that we get more people who are writing books that maybe wouldn't have been given a chance before. And now I think it's so easy as a child or a teenager to see an author and say, oh, they live where I live. Maybe they believe similar things to what I believe, or I saw them at the grocery store, and it makes it seem like that's something I could do too. And I didn't have that growing up. I really admired authors like Madeleine L'Engle and C.S. Lewis, and maybe people who aren't currently alive. It seemed like a pretty far away type of a dream that I didn't even dare to dream about. I just grew up loving books. English was always my favorite subject, so I studied that in college, but mostly just was writing for myself.
Wow. So you were in Germany. When did your family come home, or did you just go to another place?
So we were stationed in Germany from the time I was 11 to about 14. Mm-hmm. And then we were stationed in Las Vegas for high school. We moved around a lot though.
Okay. When did you meet your husband then?
So I met him in college after my mission. I was finishing my English major. This is so silly, but I loved My Little Ponies so much. And I had this My Little Pony folder that I would keep all these really bad poems that I had written in. And that was just kind of the sort of thing I was doing. I was not professional at all, but I was just going about thinking, okay, I'm just going to get my English degree and somehow get a job. But I was really focused on being a mom eventually and just really wanted to be a really good mom. Right. And so I wasn't really thinking about much more outside of that.
Do you still have the My Little Pony folder?
I do.
With the poems?
Yes.
Even more, probably.
Yeah, they're terrible. I mean,
one day, Julianne Donaldson's My Little Pony folder poems.
No, they're so bad. I mean, they were like 15. I was in love with this guy named Andy Love, and he didn't know who I was, but I wrote really bad poems to him.
Oh,
so
anybody out there with a dad or an uncle named Andy Love, send them our way. Okay, then where did it start then when you decided to write a book? Was it, I'm going to write a book, or how did that process go?
It was definitely baby steps. When I had my second baby, I found that it was really boring and hard to be a stay-at-home mom. I needed an intellectual outlet, and I was looking at other moms around me to see what they were doing for their outlets. And I tried baking, I tried quilting, I tried decorating, but I was like, all of this costs money.
Yep.
And I'm not that great at any of it. And I was just missing the intellectual challenge. Mm-hmm. And my husband at the time was in school for a long time, 9 years of our marriage. He was a full-time student. So it wasn't like we ever had extra money for fabric or anything.
Right.
But I found that I could take a notebook and pen wherever I went. And I was at the playground with my kids and I'd have my notebook and pen. Or we'd go to the library and I'd have them look at little board books and I'd be scribbling away. And it just became a creative and intellectual outlet for me. But I was definitely starting with baby steps. And so the first thing I ever got published was actually in the magazine Pregnancy. And I wrote about my birth experience with my second baby because it was kind of a traumatic, scary experience. He's fine. I'm fine. But I sent it in to them and they published it. And so now I have something in a magazine. And at the time, I was spending a lot of time reading board books with my kids. They were little. Mm-hmm. And so I thought I want to write a picture book. And picture books are actually probably one of the hardest things to get published. I haven't managed it yet.
Do they have a criteria, or is it because so many people are doing it?
I think so many people think it's easy because they're short.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go into a library, you'll see hundreds and hundreds of picture books. They're not all necessarily well written, but they're maybe in the library collection. They're just going to keep them. And so I don't think there's a high demand for picture books like there is for novels, like current contemporary stuff that keeps coming out. But also, it's just hard to write concisely like that. I started collecting rejection letters. I spent about 6 years sending off picture book manuscripts and just getting rejection letters from them. And then I thought, you know what? I need to go even smaller than this. And so I went looking for more magazines that I could publish with. And once I started to get things published in magazines, and I felt like, okay, I'm figuring out how to write concisely and I'm figuring out how to edit my own work. Then I started dreaming about writing a book. But I thought it was something that I'd have to go to graduate school and be taught how to write a novel. It didn't seem doable with the education that I had until, this is going to sound so funny because this is so outdated now, Twilight happened.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Because I know I was on that boat. I feel like everyone around me was.
Yeah. So I discovered Stephenie Meyer just because I was kind of trying to get my foot into the writing community. I picked up the book. I stayed up late reading it. I started to research who Stephenie Meyer was. And I was like, oh my gosh, on paper, she sounds so much like me. She was LDS. She'd gone to BYU, and had majored in English, but hadn't taken any creative writing classes. That was me. I was too scared to take a creative writing class. She had 3 small kids. She was a stay-at-home mom, and she just decided to start writing a story. It gave me so much inspiration. It really just showed me that it is possible right now. I didn't have to wait till my kids were grown and I had a graduate degree.
Wow. Yeah. So you spent 6 years getting the rejection letters, then moving to the magazine, then... Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't even know how how did you get through those 6 years? Because I feel like a lot of people would be like, I'm done. Maybe 6 months. Okay, I got to keep trying hard. But 6 years.
I don't really know how to describe it. I had this real passion. I had a dream of being a published author, and I wasn't willing to stop until I saw that come to fruition. So then I'm inspired by Twilight, but for me,
You didn't want to write about vampires.
I didn't want to write about vampires. But I'd grown up loving the Regency era. I had an older friend who was like a mentor to me, who introduced me to Georgette Hare, who was considered the queen of the Regency romance. And she wrote in like the 40s and 50s, so she's long dead. She kind of set the standard for what I would call clean, witty, smart Regency romances. Regency romance is basically a romance set in the Regency era.
Okay.
Which was a specific time in England when the king had gone mad and wasn't fit to rule the country. So the prince was reigning as a regent. He didn't have the crown yet, but he was in charge of the country as a regent. So that's why it's called the Regency era. And it lasted from about 1805 to about 1820. But you can look at art and fashion and other things and say, well, it kind of extends a little bit more than that. But that's kind of the general area, about 20 years.
Wow.
At the beginning of the 1800s.
Okay. So it's really short. And then on Edenbrooke, it'll say like a proper romance. Is that different, or it's just a proper romance set in the Regency time? The
way the proper romance moniker, I guess, came about was I miraculously, and we're kind of jumping ahead, but I miraculously found an agent for Edenbrooke.
Okay.
She was really smart. When I was writing Edenbrooke, I had a really hard time finding anyone who would publish it, because at that time, the Regency genre had kind of become, I would call it, corrupted. It was people writing like modern settings and modern values, but just putting it into a Regency context. I couldn't go and pick up a book that felt like a Georgette Hare. They all had sex in it. And I'm like, that's not what the Regency is about. So I wanted to kind of revive the true Regency romance. And yet I couldn't find an agent or a publisher who would take on Edenbrooke. I had some who were interested, and they said, if you put sex in it, then I can publish it. And I'm like, that's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is to bring back the pure Regency romance, the way Georgette Hare created it, right? So when I finally found a publisher who was willing to publish it without sex, my agent said to them, pointed out, which I had already learned as I was collecting more rejection letters. At that time, there were two types of romance that you could find in bookstores. There was the Christian romance. So you would expect to not read about sex, but you would also have some elements of religion or scripture in it, right? Or faith. Or there was your kind of mainstream romance where you know you're going to get sex scenes. And that was it. Those were the only two options. And here I'm coming in with something that doesn't fit either option. And she's like, you need to identify this as not inspirational, but also not racy. And so they came up with the term a proper romance.
Hold up. So you're telling me that your books, that's where the proper romance kind of came?
Yes, from my brilliant agent, Laurie McLean.
Y'all, Laura, you did great. You and Lauren together, that is incredible.
It was her idea. She was really smart. And then my publisher was the one who came up with, she came up with the idea, they came up with the wording, and then they've taken that on as an imprint where they've got more authors writing that same style of, okay, you're not going to get religion in this, but you're also not going to get open door sex scenes.
That is incredible. How does that feel? Like you kind of started a movement.
Well, I do also have to give credit to other authors because Sarah Eden was writing clean Regencies and publishing them at the same time that I was writing Edenbrooke and trying to get it published. And so it wasn't me alone. It definitely took more than just one person, right? To start a movement. I have to give so much credit to God because I had felt this passion for writing, this really strong drive that I would say is kind of unique to that time in my life. I feel like I've had that really strong drive to accomplish something in that way since then. I definitely felt this. I couldn't stop collecting the rejection letters, and I couldn't stop trying to make this change because I just felt so strongly that there were readers out there who, if they had books like this, would love them, and that they didn't have to go and get what the world was offering for romance. I'm grateful I was able to be part of it, and I'm grateful that other authors came to support it, because I can't write all the books, right?
Right.
But it's wonderful that so many people have found a home in it that didn't exist before.
Anyone out there needing inspiration for whatever your passion is, that's it right there. You have started my love of proper romances. You have a talent, and I'm so grateful that you give that back to God too. We got to talk about the storylines. We have to. That was a big request of, well, one, myself, but two, some of my other listeners. How I got started is I've been trying to get a really good sleep routine.
Right.
And then I read a stat that was, don't read nonfiction before bed because it stimulates your brain too much and it won't help you get to bed. So I was like, okay, I need to read fiction books. And my thought went immediately to one of my best friends, old roommates. She's affectionately known as Shuffle in our house. Her real name's Elise. And I was like, I know she always read all these fiction books.
Yeah.
So I call her up and I was like, hey, can you send me some fiction books? I'm trying this out before I go to bed. And she was like, oh no, that's a real stat. Like, it's a real thing. I'll send you my top faves. So I think she sent me like 5 books, but 2 of them were Edenbrooke and Blackmoore. And she said, if you read Edenbrooke, it will be your favorite book. Like, it is my number one. And she and her whole family, shout out to the Woodland and Frank family. They are proper romance groupies. It was the first time in a while that I actually could say I did not want to put the book down. And because of that, I read Edenbrooke first. And I waited to read Blackmoore till last month because I knew, I was like, there's only 2. And if I loved this one so much, I have to wait.
Gotta spread them out.
Because I know I will just read through. And it was like, it's just so fast. So
thank you.
How in the world do you come up with these storylines? I mean, we'll start on Edenbrooke first. Got some questions. First, so it was Edenbrooke, then Blackmoore. How far apart were these 2?
Well, I spent 5 years writing Edenbrooke and trying to get it published. And then right after it got published, then they wanted another book. So I wrote Blackmoore probably about a year, which felt fast for me.
Oh my gosh.
I procrastinated it and I wrote most of the book in about 3 months.
I love that.
I didn't love it. My publisher didn't love it.
Did you have the storyline before the characters?
Writing Edenbrooke was a very, very, very messy process for me because I didn't know what I was doing. I just kind of jumped in with both feet. And the very first thing I wrote was the Milkmaid song. And
wow.
The reason of all the things to write, the reason I wrote that, and so much of what came to be Edenbrooke, was just like my own self-therapy. So I had 3 little kids at the time. My husband was in law school. I was doing all these odd jobs to try to provide for the family, and it was just really depressing. It was just a really hard time of life. I was standing at the kitchen sink one day, and like all 3 of my kids were just, making huge messes, and I'm trying to do the dishes. And it was kind of like a gray winter day, and I just thought, I really need to think of something that will make me laugh. And I just dreamed up this Milkmaid song. And then I thought, why in the world would anybody sing that song? And I dreamed up Marianne and I dreamed up Philip. I spent the next couple of years just throwing them into different situations and seeing what they did. Just whatever therapy I needed on that day. If it was a laugh or if it was something really romantic, that's what I wrote. It was so messy. It was so hard to pull it together into a book. I think the finished book is around like 80,000 words, but I have over 100,000 words of just that didn't even make it into the book.
Deleted scenes.
Yes.
Oh.
Like just so much. And so when I wrote Blackmoore, I thought I really have to be more succinct in my process. Because Edenbrooke didn't really start with a plot. It just started with characters. And so with Blackmoore, I thought I definitely need to give my characters a goal and some obstacles to that goal. And so that's how I was able to write it much more quickly than Edenbrooke.
That makes sense. Did you do an England period research? Because you have some pretty incredible locations that I'm like, I know this is real.
As far as like the Regency era, I had studied so much, both on my own and in college. That's what I love to read. And so there was a lot that I picked up just from studying. So the actual history and stuff, I didn't have to research as much, but I really wanted to go to England and find the places I had imagined.
Oh, that's a dream.
And so I did. I had actually saved every check I got from a magazine, from getting my story published. I put it into its own bank account and didn't touch it for the family. And after about a year of working on Edenbrooke, I had like $800 saved up, which felt like a miracle because like we were poor college students. I had a friend whose husband was an airline pilot. I just called her up and I said, "Can you meet me in England in a week?" She said yes, actually, because she was able to fly for free. So we met in England and we had just the craziest week. We didn't have a cell phone over there. We didn't have GPS. I had a paper map. I was driving on the wrong side of the road. Right. I was sleep deprived. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was off to find my Edenbrooke.
Right.
And it was just a fabulous adventure. I was able to get inspiration for the book, and I was so blown away by how green everything was, by how big everything was. I just hadn't fully understood the magnitude of how majestic the English countryside is.
Is Edenbrooke an actual name of an actual place, or is that what you came up with that place?
I came up with it. I wanted to evoke the idea of a Garden of Eden. It was supposed to be like a paradise. And if you'll notice in Edenbrooke, there are no children. They're like filthy rich. Like they are so disgustingly rich.
You pick up on that pretty quickly.
It's like, I wanted it to be like this total escape from what my life was at the time. There's so many coincidences when it comes to creativity. When I imagined Edenbrooke, I thought I have to set it in southern England, and I needed it to be a certain distance between Bath and Dover. And so I chose Kent as my county. And I kind of went, okay, so if, she comes from London and she's traveling from Bath and they end up in Dover, and I put a circle on the map and zoomed in and said, here we go. And I found the town Maidstone. And I said, okay, I will set Edenbrooke next to Maidstone. And then I zoomed in a little more, and by Maidstone flowed a river called Eden.
Oh my gosh. Wait, so you already had that idea of the Garden of Eden?
Title. I already had the title. I found the River Eden, and then just very recently, like a few months ago, some new work had been done in my family history, and I discovered I have ancestors who lived in Maidstone.
Stop it.
No.
Your ancestors were on the other side like, go, Julianne. Come on.
Do it. Come on.
That is incredible.
Yeah, it was so fun. And I found that with Blackmoore too. So many really amazing, lovely little coincidences that come about. And you're like, this is not just me and my imagination. There is so much more to creativity than just one person.
Right. With Blackmoore, did you go back?
I went back. This time I went to Northern England because I wanted it to have more of a Gothic feel. I flew into Manchester. And so I started on the West Coast and I just went all the way over to the East Coast. I had in my mind a setting where you would be on the moors, but also see the ocean. And I didn't know where that was until I actually drove up to it. And then I was like, oh, this is it. And it happened to be Robin Hood's Bay. And there's a cliff where there's some sort of building. I can't remember if it was like an estate or what, but the setting was just there, just like I had imagined it. It was just the most beautiful place. And I was able to really get a feel for the atmosphere of the environment. And I felt like that really came to life for me.
Okay, wait, these estates on the covers, are they actual?
So the one on Edenbrooke is an actual estate. It's been turned into like a hotel.
Oh, okay.
At this point.
Yeah, looks like it.
And then the one, show me Blackmoore. It's probably, I don't know. I mean, I didn't design the covers.
Okay.
So I don't know where they got the images from.
Okay.
There's probably something that looks like that.
Wow. You should do a Julianne Donaldson tour in England.
Okay. No joke. Last year, I totally want to do an English tour of my books.
Yes.
I could do Southern England for Edenbrooke and Northern England for Blackmoore. And there'd be so many amazing sights to see and just places that inspired me and everything. No, I've seriously thought about it.
I will be the first ticket purchase. I will be, and I already know I'm going to be calling some people like, we're going. Because there's so many people I know who'd be like, yes. Like just to be in that place that you've written about, but with you, and to like see how your mind works?
I think it would be so fun and a great excuse for me to get over there again.
Yes. Okay.
I just need to find time to
Who
plan
does that?
something
Is that
like
a travel agent or is that a booking agent? I don't know. Whoever does that, I'm putting it out there into the radio waves. And we're going to manifest it back to Julianne. And I, as Munch and Mingle, will sponsor this. We'll get it though. That would be incredible.
Wouldn't
so
it be
great.
fun?
Oh, okay.
I even planned, like in my imagination, I was like, we could even find a little estate to stay at for a day and have like a dance.
Yes.
And optional horseback riding or archery if someone wanted to do that.
Oh, another question. When you were there doing your research, had characters already come into play? Did the research change any of the characters? Actually seeing the places?
I already had my characters in my mind before I went. So that didn't really change, but like definitely, I feel like especially with Blackmoore as an estate, like as its own character, definitely came to life through my traveling and researching there. But okay, so my characters lived in my mind already. Right? Philip, and I know like people have wanted to know. So you have to understand, you have to go back 15 years because that's when I started writing it. I found this old photo of a very young Christian Bale.
Oh my gosh. All the women right now. We knew it. Just kidding.
I have a thing. It is just my type. I have a thing for guys with kind of wavy brown hair. I found this photo. It's from a movie that nobody knows about. It's really hard to find the photo, but he's outdoors. It looks like he might be somewhere windy, and he's wearing this like white shirt that's kind of unbuttoned a bit. So it looks like an old-fashioned white shirt. I stared at that picture. I mean, like I printed it on my color printer, right? And I had it on my bulletin board. And I was just in love with that picture for like 5 years. Like he was real to me. Right.
That was Philip.
That was Philip.
Oh my goodness.
But I know a lot of people are like, oh, it could be this actor. It could be this actor. Whatever floats your boat.
Right.
You know? Like,
see, but that helps though. When you can give me the actors, that helps me because I sometimes don't do well with a blank canvas. And you do very well at describing him. But it almost is just like, okay, got it. Like now I can see it exactly where you were. And we're going to go over that. We'll talk about some other characters, but that is good to know. So did it change the plot at all when you went there?
Oh yeah, for sure. So when I was researching Edenbrooke, I started in Bath and I was like, I don't understand why Marianne didn't love it here because it is so beautiful. But I went to an estate near Salisbury called Wilton House, and it's still lived in, but they have part of the estate open for tours. And I saw behind the house this river, a small river, maybe you'd call it a creek, and this Palladian bridge that crosses it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to have a scene with that bridge and that river. And that's what inspired my twirling scenes of her, you know, falling in the river. Actually, when I had first written Edenbrooke, Cecily wasn't a part of the story at all.
Oh.
And so I had sent it off to agents for like a year, and I just kept getting rejected by it. And then I had an agent say, I feel like there needs to be a stronger obstacle between Marianne and Philip getting together. So I created Cecily, and that was just enough of an obstacle, you know, for them. So it definitely changed as I worked on it.
Love it. Okay. Let's go through our casting lineup.
Okay.
So in Blackmoore, you already helped us out. You gave us a picture of Kate, which, did this just come up from someone or is this a person? She's beautiful.
She's beautiful, isn't she? Okay.
Yes.
I love that picture. Funny story. When I was writing Blackmoore, it was during the Summer Olympics, and I love the Summer Olympics.
Yes.
There was this Russian gymnast who had these strong dark eyebrows, and she just had this fierceness about her when she performed. Like, she was so compelling to watch. She gave me the inspiration for Kate. And I have a friend, I can't even remember how we became friends. I think we're kind of like Facebook friends, maybe. She was like an aspiring artist. I don't think she's had any formal training, but she was sketching, and she sent me a sketch of this girl. And I said, that is Kate.
Wow.
That is Kate. And I'm like, can you finish that? And can I use it for my book? Because just the eyebrows was just enough. And so she did that. She did an amazing job.
I love it.
Yeah.
Should we go through all Blackmoore, or do you want to just...
Let's do Edenbrooke.
Okay, so Marianne.
Before I wrote Marianne was just kind of Marianne, right? And then once I knew she was going to be published, I thought, I need to find an actress who kind of resembles who I imagine. And so I found this British actress named Imogen Poots. And what I love about her is she can look like she has this natural beauty, and she can look kind of plain, but she can also look really beautiful.
That's her.
Yes.
Is that?
Yes. And she has, like, she was in a historical one where you can see her kind of with her hair done like...
I need to go read Edenbrooke again, and I'm going to print out everyone who said, oh, yes.
But isn't
that's
she
her.
so pretty?
Oh, my gosh. Okay, for anyone out there, you spell her name Imogen, and then Poots is Poots.
And
wow.
maybe it's pronounced Potts or something. I don't know. It's British.
Knows? Okay, so that's Marianne.
So, yeah.
When you're going to find your characters, do you just like... How do you find them? How do you search for this?
Well, and it's hard because I think a lot of people want to see this as like maybe a movie. And so you're looking for actual actors who could fit that role. And you don't necessarily, can't usually like use like an everyday person's picture and like, this is who I was thinking of. But there's some actors that are kind of quintessentially, you know, that guy that plays, does he play a rat or something in Harry Potter? Oh, Enchanted.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And he kind of has like a rat face, you know? And so you think, okay, I need an older gentleman who's a little repulsive, right? You know, for Mr. Whittles. And so you'd pick someone like him, right? So there's actors who play specific kind of just general parts through different stories.
Kind of have you.
Yeah.
Which that was one I had to ask about because I'm like, that's exactly how I pictured him up. I mean, you described it so well, but I'm like, yeah, it's one of those like, ooh. But that is kind of the person you'd resemble after. So Cecily, I mean, I guess they're sisters, but I don't know if there's...
I don't know if, like, who I chose for Cecily. I think I just chose, like, a blonder version of Marianne.
Yeah. And then Mr. Beaufort. Is that how you say it? Am I saying it wrong? Okay.
Mr. Beaufort. I don't even know. Maybe someone like... Why am I thinking of the weirdest movies?
Who's the understudy for Christian Bale? Someone who could be as, but not.
I don't know. Maybe someone like Chris Pine or something.
I could see that. Yeah. Because it has to be on that level, but it's like, wait, love it. So Blackmoore, we know Kate. Who did you envision as her mom?
Okay, so with Blackmoore, I didn't go choosing like actors for it. So I don't know that I have like a specific person in mind.
So these ones are kind of like...
It's been a long time since I've thought about these.
Well, then I'll just ask for the one that everyone wants to know is Henry.
Henry. This is also going to be funny for people. Like I said, I was kind of obsessed with the Summer Olympics. There was a swimmer named Ryan Lochte.
Okay, I was like, it's either going to be Ryan or Michael Phelps.
But Ryan Lochte. And, you know, he's kind of an idiot and whatever. But there were a couple of amazing pictures of him coming out of the water and stuff. And that's what gave me the inspiration for Henry coming out of the water.
Oh, that's perfect. I love it. So great. And like I said, I'm going to go back and read now with the storyboard laid out in front of me.
There's also, if you go on Pinterest, people have created actor storyboards for Edenbrooke and Blackmoore, and you can find them on there.
I mean, I saw a trailer on YouTube, like a fan-made trailer of Edenbrooke. I was like, oh my goodness. Isn't that so cool? Like,
it's fun.
People love this.
It's so surprising to me. I didn't ever expect it to kind of grow to this popularity, but I love them. So I'm glad other people love them too.
Oh, so much. Now that we've kind of gone through it, what year did Edenbrooke come out?
It came out in 2012. Yeah.
And then Blackmoore was the next year?
Yeah.
Okay. So take us kind of through what happened after Blackmoore.
Yes. What happened to you? Why aren't you writing more books?
I told everyone because everyone's like, you have to ask when our next book's coming out. I'm like, okay, we're going to open Julianne up.
I get this question a lot. Okay. So Blackmoore came out in 2013. And right after it came out, I got surprise pregnant with a caboose 6 years after my youngest. So I already had 4 kids, which was a lot. I thought I was done, and then surprise. So I'm having a baby at 39. My body was not the same. I had to be in a wheelchair for a lot of the pregnancy because I had torn discs in my back, and it was going to be my 4th C-section. It was rough. It was hard. My husband at the time was a bishop. There was just so much going on. And I had to put writing aside while I created a new life. And then we had to move because we had this tiny 3-bedroom house with no basement, and we had 5 kids crammed in there. And I was like, I can't do this. There's only so many ways you can rearrange a bedroom before it becomes impossible, right? So we moved, and it was rough. It's hard. 4 kids and a newborn. And I made a commitment to write a story that I wanted to write. Life became really hard, and I couldn't really think about writing for a while. And then when I did try to write, as soon as I signed a contract to write my next book, my husband was called to be a bishop again. And he also was doing a case for the Utah Supreme Court. And so for 3 months, I had no support at home, but I had a book due in 3 months after that.
Oh my gosh.
So I told my agent and I told my publisher, there is absolutely no way I can write a novel in 3 months. Here's what's happened in my personal life. All this stuff is going on with my family and my husband's career. And so I need an extension. And just because of who was kind of running the company at the time, they're not there anymore, but they threatened me with a lawsuit if I didn't finish in 3 months. And that was way too much pressure for me.
Yeah.
Things fell apart at that point. I did everything I could to write a finished manuscript in 3 months. And it was so bad. It was just not good at all. And they said, this is terrible. Rewrite the whole thing in 2 weeks.
Oh
And I
my
said,
gosh.
well, that's not physically impossible for anyone.
Yeah.
I don't think even like Brandon Sanderson could write a whole new book in 2 weeks, let alone a mom with 5 kids.
Yeah.
Anyways, things kind of went downhill with my publisher from there. So I ended up saying, I'm done. I kind of quit. I quit writing, and things fell apart at home. I ended up having to get divorced the next year. So I had surprise baby, surprise divorce. Then I had surprise cancer.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know if your listeners, if they have kids with mental illnesses, but it runs in our family, both sides of our family. We have a lot of mental illness. And so my kids, unfortunately, genetically didn't have a chance. So all my kids have anxiety to the point where they all have to be professionally taken care of. There's just so much that goes on with trying to successfully keep your kids alive to adulthood.
Right.
And I found that in the middle of all those hard things, it was impossible to dream up a believable love story.
Right.
I was very jaded. I couldn't write romance. Every time someone asked when I was going to write another book, I felt this sense of like, I'm disappointing people. I don't know how to do this anymore. Is this even a part of my future anymore? Being able to write stories like this. Because I couldn't write a romance, I started writing just little poems and thoughts about how God was carrying me through these hard times. And I happened to be Facebook friends with my project manager at my publisher. I was sharing some of these experiences where I felt God's hand in my life, where he was carrying me through hard times, where I was seeing the wisdom through hard things I was going through. And he said, you know what? I think what you're creating here could be a book. Keep going. Keep writing more things like this. So I spent another year writing just really some of the most deepest parts of my heart. And after a year, I thought, I think this is it. I think I have a good enough collection. And so I sent it to them, and they created a gorgeous book out of it called Come Sweet Day. And it has the most beautiful designs, and they did such a good job with it. It had been a dream of mine from 8th grade until now. It had been a dream of mine to have a poem published, and to not just have one poem, but have many poems published, and just these really personal but meaningful experiences where I saw God's hand in my life. So I feel tremendously lucky that that became a part of my career path.
That's incredible. That is my next book. But as you said, it's one that is meant to be repeated and gone through for certain things. And I love that.
Yeah. I think in my younger years, I imagined life going a lot more smoothly than it has gone. But I think the longer you live, the more you recognize everyone around you goes through hard things. And it looks different, but no one escapes it. And so I have been able to find beautiful connections with readers who are going through things I couldn't have imagined. And yet, like, the message is the same, that you are known, that you're loved, that there's hope in dark times, and that good things do come. You just keep going.
Wow. I mean, this has been an incredible interview.
Thank you.
I'm just so grateful for you, and thank you for opening up. I know there's a lot of people listening who are like, we got you. We're standing behind you now. We won't be the ones asking for another book. It's like, no, what she's put out is amazing. What is like for you now? What does a normal day for you look like now?
So I still have 5 kids at home. My oldest is living actually with roommates, but my second oldest invited a friend to come live with us for the past year.
So right back to 5.
Back to 5. I have 5 kids. I have a cat and a dog. I have a yard with way too many weeds. I have a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah.
It's a really lovely time of life. I'm finding that the more present I am in my life, the happier I am. And so I do all the things that any other stay-at-home mom would do. I do a lot of cooking and a lot of cleaning and a lot of laundry and a lot of driving my kids places. And I've come to love Korean dramas. They are my big escape.
Yeah.
I get to do fun things like this. I plan a Regency retreat where people get to come and dress up and spend a day in a castle and pretend to be in one of my novels or in a Jane Austen novel.
Yes.
Or in Bridgerton, however you like to imagine it. For a day and a night, we have tea parties and lavish dinners and balls, costume contests and musical performances and everything that you think you might want to do if you were to spend a day in my novel.
Yeah.
Except archery because of, liability reasons. And horseback riding. We're not going to let people actually get on horses.
Dang it.
I do that.
And that's Wadley Farms.
Wadley Farms.
Is it in September?
It's September 23rd.
Okay.
I like to make it easy to remember. So 23rd in 2023.
Perfect.
And
you do a lot of book signings at bookstores.
I do a lot of book signings. I sometimes trying to date, but mostly not. I think I date like once a year.
That's great.
Don't have time for a social life, but I have a lot of great friends.
So good. What are you looking forward to now?
My wishes are kind of centered on my family. Like what I wish for my children is to help them not be afraid of what the world is and just go out and conquer and have the life that they can have. For myself, I have a lot on my bucket list, like a lot of traveling I want to do. I need to make much more money before I can do all the traveling I want to do, but I haven't been to Italy yet.
That's the dream.
That is the dream.
Like ultimate dream.
I have stories I want to write that someday hopefully will be written. Hopefully
that's all we're gonna
in Italy.
That's all we're gonna know. You keep that in your brain and we'll just wait. Whether it be 10 or 50 years, I will wait. Wow. Just thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you for answering a very humble email that was sent to you. You've opened up a lot, and I know so many people are just going to be so happy to hear from you. And if you would love to connect, you're on Instagram.
I am at Writer Julianne.
Perfect. And you do have your own website, which has a cute little blip that they can write to you.
Yep. Do not write to me and ask me.
There's a frequently asked questions box for a reason.
Please check my FAQs before you write me an email. I feel so bad for all the emails I don't answer because they're all the same question and it's on my website.
Yep, it's there. You've done very good at posting all that.
Thank you.
And then the Regency Retreat, September. Tickets are going to go on sale soon.
Tickets go on sale June 15th. They're expensive. They usually sell out within a few days. You can find the tickets and information about the event on regencyretreat.com.
Perfect. We're going to one day do a...
One day we'll do a trip.
Proper romance trip tour.
Proper romance.
It'd be great.
That'd be so fun.
It would be the best. Like, pinnacle of my life.
Can you imagine? We'd have to have like multiple buses.
Right. I'm just thinking like, okay, they do church tours.
I know.
So we could totally do that. So you'd have to have a cap.
Yeah.
But then that's where you get like travel agents. They just give the packages. I don't know if we're going to do like Austin Land Copper packages or did you ever see that movie?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe not that extent, but at least enough that it's like you buy your flight.
Yeah.
But then we all meet at a central location.
And you get on the bus and you go and you have meals and places to stay.
Yes.
And it sounds so fun.
We're going to make it happen.
If someone knows a travel agent, have them reach out to me. Yeah.
Yes.
Just come and contact me.
It's going to happen. I can't wait. Okay. Well, to whoever you are out there, if you haven't already, you need to go read Edenbrooke or Blackmoore, and also Come Sweet Day, which is my next purchase. I cannot wait.
Thank you.
And just know you're loved, whatever you're going through. I hope this episode has given you hope in whatever you're facing. You've given a lot of incredible, inspiring little tidbits to take away. You are loved, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.